Night at the Museum 2014.
Hi.
Lesher's Night at the Museum 2014.
Which then led me to be the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. And you know that's not an easy thing to do. Many women told me that I need to be all prim and proper, but I like wearing pants. Besides, those old bloomers were uncomfortable anyway. So I told myself I was always going to be me, and no one was ever going to change that.
I am the one
was my beloved Prince Harry.
I had ideas hundreds of years before they were even perfected by someone else. Well, I, Leonardo da Vinci, was that man. I had those ideas. As a child, I was abandoned by my parents and became apprentice to the famous artist Verrocchio. And I learned many skills from him, including painting to leatherworking. By adulthood, I had painted many paintings which would have become famous later in my life, which mean the Roman Empire, Last Supper, and the Mona Lisa. And those which I became famous for. Then, in my older life, the King of France invited me to come stay at his palace for that time, just 2 years before I painted the Mona Lisa. And at the Palace of the King of France, I died on May 1st, 1519.
I was 35th youngest Catholic president. Have you people ever wonder what it's like to be president? Well, I'll tell you exactly that. I was born May 29th, 1917, in Brooklyn, Massachusetts. As a boy, I excelled in reading books, especially about Teddy Roosevelt. I even like to go to history museums to pass the time and to have fun. When I grew up to be a true man, at around 20 years of age, I joined the Navy. I saved 4 of my crewmen from a Japanese U-boat while having an injured back.
My friend Chloe invited me to go to Africa.
In 1952, after 1945, when World War II had ended, I became a senator of the United States. In 1961, I became president, and all in all, I was mostly remembered because I had become president, helped others, and tried to make them not selfish by saying this one quote: "Ask not what the country can do for you, but what the people can do for the country." So, all in all, I was mostly remembered for releasing Martin Luther King from false imprisonment, being a senator, and helping my country out as a president of the United States. I will never forget my honorable country, America.
Let's hear it, Jane.
Oh, okay. I'm a primatologist. I'm a naturalist. I am Jane Goodall. I was born in 1934 in London, England. I had a great interest in animals and nature when I was very young. What boosted that interest was me reading Tarzan for the very first time. When I was about 10 or 11, I fell in love with the character Tarzan, much to my great disappointment, I fell in love with that other movie, Jane. When I graduated high school, I did not have enough money for a college, so I went to small night classes to train to be a secretary for my aunt. However, I hated them and I quit soon after, about a week or so. After that, my friend Chloe invited me to her farm in Africa. When I was there, I met Louis Leakey, who encouraged me to study chimpanzees. When I studied chimpanzees, I discovered that they use tools just like humans, and that they are avid meat eaters just like humans. Today I'm 79 years old. I travel 300 days in the year to go on lectures around the world, and I'm about to turn 80. I love animals and nature. Without it, I'm not whole. It is a part of me, and its own good time may be a part of me.
Night at the Museum.
Will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. Hi, I'm Martin Luther King Jr. As I was a child, I played several sports with my friends, but one day, one of my very best friend's mother forbid him to play with me because of the color of my skin. As I became an adult, I published several books. I gave my famous speech at the March on Washington. Hold on. Sorry. Oh, as many of you may know, I was a leader in the Civil Rights Movement. I won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. That is one of my famous quotes. I encourage you to follow this quote and speak up to fight against racism.
I was born in a time I had trouble finding a solid job.
I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. Hi, I'm Martin Luther King Jr. As a child, I went to several schools. I loved to play sports with my friends, but one day one of my very best friend's mother forbid him to play with me because of the color of my skin. As I became an adult, I published several books. I gave my famous speech at the March on Washington. And I was also
Mystique Olinsky to the office, please. Mystique Olinsky to the office.
I was also the minister of Ebenezer Avenue Baptist Church. As many of you may know, I was a leader in the Civil Rights Movement. I won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. That is one of my famous quotes. I encourage you to follow this quote and speak up to fight against racism. Sorry about my I grew up in 1880. Cuando yo era joven, me gustaba hacer dibujos y pinturas que les vendería a mis vecinos. Uno de mis how do you say accomplishments?
Éxitos.
Uno de mis éxitos grandes es que gané 22 premios de la academia. Yo también hice caricaturas y películas que ustedes todavía ven y disfrutan hoy en día. Alrededor del 1966, un nuevo parque temático mío estaba bajo de construcción. Y antes de que se terminara, yo me morí en Burbank, California, por cáncer del pulmón. Uno de mis 3 hermanos, Roy, llevó sobre los planes para terminar el nuevo parque temático que se abrió en 1971 bajo el nombre de Walt Disney World. ¿Ha sido ahí?
Usted también podría ser que haya para los Broncos, que los llevó a la Super Bowl, que ganó 2 y perdió 3. La gente me llama el comeback niño. No me importa que me parece. En mi carrera de 14 años me dio 50 pases and 300 touchdowns. Cuando yo era niño no me gustó el fútbol, solo mi papá me enseñó a amar todos los deportes que él jugado para béisbol. La persona que me inspiró fue Calvin Hills. Fui el coordinador de los Vaqueros. Cuando yo quería ser jugador de fútbol, estaba en la escuela.
Después era muy fácil entrar al modelaje y me estaba preparando para una carrera para actriz y estuve en 29 películas completas, estaba trabajando en 30 cuando lamentablemente comencé.
I'm Cameron Shine. Hi, my name is Rosa Parks. If you don't know me, I am someone who stood against segregation.
Mystique Olinsky to the office, please. Mystique Olinsky to the office.
I was born on February 4th, 1913 in Tuskegee, Alabama. I became famous by people knowing me for convincing others to stand up to discrimination. People also know me from the Montgomery bus. If you don't know about the Montgomery bus, it was how I was brave enough to sit in the front of the bus and I was arrested for it. I died on October 24, 2005 in Detroit, Michigan at the age of 92 by my illness called progressive dementia.
In 1967, I married a beautiful woman named Priscilla Presley. Then in 1968, we had a child called Lisa Marilyn Presley. Years later, I died because of drugs. I lived to the age of 42.
Old age, I forget, right?
After that, I moved back.
I am Alexander the Great, King of Macedonia, King of Persia, King of Asia, and Pharaoh of Egypt. I will be known as one of the most successful generals for conquering the world in my 32 years. I was born in Pella, the capital of Macedonia. I studied the Greek principle of sound mind and sound body. At the age of 20, my father died, leaving me the King of Macedonia. I decided to follow my father's plans of taking revenge on the Persian Empire for the invasion of Greece from 480 to 479 BC. After many battles, Darius III met me with a huge army. Although I was outnumbered 5 to 1, my tactics proved superior, and there, in the Battle of Gaugamela, I ended more than 2 centuries of Persian rule in Asia. In the future, I will be known as Alexander the Great, one of the most successful generals and conqueror of the world. I don't have it completely memorized in Spanish.
He cambiado las comedias de cine mudo para siempre. Mis películas han sido enormemente aclamadas por críticos y serán aclamadas por más de 100 años. Yo soy Charlie Chaplin. Cuando era un niño, era triste y fui parcialmente abandonado. Nací el 16 de abril de 1889. 3 años más tarde, mi padre dejó la familia. Mientras que nos volvíamos pobres, mi madre sufrió de problemas mentales y más tarde fue mandada a un psiquiátrico. Cuando maduré, hice películas y me transformé en la persona que soy hoy. Cuando tenía 19 años, fui por primera vez introducida profesionalmente al escenario. Más tarde en mi vida hice mi personaje más famoso, The Tramp, e incluso ayudé a fundar United Artists. No sería conocido si no fueran por mis películas. Películas realistas como El Gran Dictador y El Niño fueron enormemente aclamadas por críticos. Películas graciosas como The Gold Rush y El Circo hacían que las personas que las vieran se rieran. También películas críticas como Luces de Ciudad y Tiempos Modernos daban información sobre mí como una persona. Yo no sería nadie si no fuera por mis películas. A la gente le gustan mis películas por traer un mensaje social y ser graciosos. Eso es lo que me hace a mí ser Charlie Chaplin.
I died June 23rd, 2012 in an 18-month battle with pancreatic cancer. I also received the Medal of Honor a year after I died. I don't want people to remember me for being an astronaut, but for being a leader and a hero to many.
Cuando era adolescente, convenció cambiar de aquí a Ringo Starr. Años más tarde.
I was born March 17th, 1972, and I started playing soccer in secondary school. I married my
People said I wasn't going to be a fast runner because of my religion. Hi, my name is Eric Little, and let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in Western China in 1902, and I lived in a Christian family, but I did not get to see my parents a lot because they're missionaries for China, so I lived with my brother. When I grew older, I was inspired by my brother to run in the Olympics, so I tried it, but I didn't have a lot of fans because my religion, and I didn't run on Sundays or practice. I missed the race on Sunday because I was stayed true to my word, so I didn't run. But then on the next race, I set the record and I got gold in the 400
Group A, when you are done with your monologues, you may take your 7-minute break.
I don't want to be remembered as a person who ran Olympics. I would like to be remembered as a person who stuck to his, stayed true to his religion.
Hola, soy la famosa Jennifer López. Nací en 1969, 24 de junio. Cuando era pequeña me encantaba bailar y cantar con mi mamá. En 1997 estaba elegida para la parte de Selena. Y en 1999 Martín y la primera canción Si tuviera tu amor. Ahora en este día muchas personas me inspiran y esa es mi vida ahora.
Hi, my name is Babe Ruth. I was born February 6, 1899. I had 8 siblings, but they all died except for me and my sister Maria. My parents, George Herman and Kathy Chamberger, worked long hours, leaving no time to watch over me and my sister. We later on went our separate ways, and when I was 19, I married a young 16-year-old coffee shop waitress. Months later, we adopted a young girl named Dorothy. Then, years later, Dorothy had claimed that I was her biological father from a girlfriend I named Grace. What a shock that was. And weeks later, I and Helen got a divorce. You could imagine why. I later on died from an illness called esophagus on August 16, 1948. But I'll always be remembered by setting new home records every 1 to 2 years.
Es posible que no se la
Born in San Pablo, Guatemala, Oaxaca, Mexico, on March 21, 1806. I am famous for being the hero of Mexico. By that, I mean I was the southern of Mexico. Back then, it was chaotic. For 3 years, I fought under the occupation under Archduke Maximilian. After a while, the Mexican army captured him and killed him. By the way, I've been in Mexico for 11 years, 1861 through 1872. Today, people know me for being the hero of Mexico.
Very good. Thank you.
Hi, my name is John Elway, the greatest quarterback of all time. I played for the Denver Broncos, an NFL team. I was born on June 28, 1960 in Port Angeles, Washington. Before I played professionally, I played at Stanford University in Palo Alto, California. A very weird story happened when I got out of college. I was actually drafted by the Indianapolis Colts, but refused to play for them. I was one of the first players to ever refuse an NFL team. So the Denver Broncos offered me a job, and I went here to play. I did many great things for the Broncos. I won many Super Bowl championships, broke many records, and I was the only one to win any Super Bowls for the Broncos. That put me one step closer to the Hall of Fame. That's where I want to go so that I can be remembered for a long time. During my career, I married to Jeanette Elway, but separated in 2003. And after retirement, my life has been great. Many stores, additionally restaurants, will be named after me in Colorado. And right now, I'm the general manager of the Broncos. But the best thing that happened to me is that I got into the Hall of Fame. Touchdown!
Fantastic. Well.
When I was 21 years old, I began to study law. I got married to Benito Lincoln in 1841 when I was 33 years old, and we had a son named Thomas. By the time I was 51 years old, I was elected to become the President of the United States. The Declaration of Independence was something I did to stop slavery and free African slaves. I was assassinated on April 15, 1865 at the age of 56 while I was watching a play. I was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth. To this day, people remember me as August 8th, the President of the United States.
Good job. I was born in 2002. I was the daughter of Samuel When I was around the age of 12, I was kidnapped by the Indians, our enemies. I was forced to marry a French Canadian fur trader. After later in my life, I joined the Lewis and Clark expedition. After the expedition, I became very ill. I died on December 20th. I died on December 1812 because of a high fever. Good job. I really liked it.
Hello, my name is William Henry Cosby. You might recognize me from the Cosby Show. Are the kids show, Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. I'm a type of comedian that would never say bad words in my comments. I can see in other comments they always say bad words. I have a wife named Kamal Cosby. I have 5 children, 4 girls and 1 boy, Erica, Erin, Anise, and Eden. Anise, my boy who had tragically died, Anise is my boy, he had tragically died of a shooting while changing his tires. I was that type of kid that would never say bad words in my comments. I was that type of kid that would never focus on the textbook. I was always focusing on making other people laugh. I dropped out of school to join the U.S. Army. Then I went back to school and then dropped out again to be a comedian. I like to see kids grow up, go to college, and one day become somebody.
How many siblings did you have? How many paintings did you do?
I did over 50 paintings.
Do you think that's...
I knew I needed to go to mine. Hola, mi nombre es Ricardo. Yo nací en la ciudad de Nueva York. El día era julio 6, 1907. Ahí nací toda mi vida. Mi papá, que era un experto en fotografía, se casó con Matilde, mi mamá. Yo fui la tercera niña después de mis 2 hermanas mayores. Desafortunadamente, mi papá murió de en el corazón y mi mamá de cáncer en el pecho. Después de estas tragedias, yo pensé intentando lo que sentía en mi vida. A la edad de 6, yo tuve un accidente y un camión chocó y me lastimó mi pierna izquierda. También sufrí de polio como una niña. Los años pasaron y me casé a la edad de 20 con un famoso artista y pintador llamado Diego Rivera. Aunque Diego era más grande que yo, me captivó sus talentos y suceso. Yo viví muchos años y morí de lo que pensaba que era double overdose. Hasta este día todos me recuerdan como una mejor pintadora.
I died on the ship and going to the shore. I know.
Hi, you may know me from my bright red hair, or my various TV shows and movies. If you haven't guessed it yet, I'm Lucille Ball, Queen of Comedy. I was born in the wonderful but dirty city of Jamestown, New York. The year was 1911, and the day was the 6th of August. I've had a very exciting life filled with acting, singing, and adventure. It all started when I moved to Hollywood to start my career as a professional actress. I started out slow and built my way up to the show I Love Lucy, and with the help of my husband, Desi Arnaz, it was a success. After 20 years more of acting, Desi and I separated, but not before we changed the world of television. After Desi and I separated, I started 2 more shows called Here's Lucy and The Lucy Show. I continued to act until my death in 1989. I was 80 years old.
Spanish, please. Hello, my name is Pocahontas. Oh, sorry. Hola, mi nombre es Pocahontas. Gracias por venir a verme, a ver cada persona que está aquí esta noche. Para empezar, yo nací en 1535 en un pueblo en Jamestown, en Virginia. Mi padre, el líder de los Powhans, era el único que me creyó en mi vida. Mi padre fue la cosa más importante en mi mundo. Yo tengo muchos hermanos y hermanas, pero en total había 31 niños y niñas. En 1614 me casé con John Ruth. Por 1617 supo una emocionante noticia que iba a tener un bebé que iba a ser niño. Su nombre iba a ser Thomas Ruth. Pero todo esto en 1610 los españoles querían tener un poco de guerra porque por culpa pensaban que en nuestra tierra había oro. Yo no pude soportarlo, así que me fui directamente con los españoles a tener un poco de charla. Yo me morí de una enfermedad en 1600. Yo me morí de una enfermedad en marzo de 1617. La gente realmente no sabe de qué enfermedad me morí. Yo sé que... me morí en un barco llegando con los españoles. Yo sé que la gente todavía me recuerda como una buena ejemplo, como una Powhan.
Hola, me llamo Anthony. Yo soy una niña que escribió un diario durante la Segunda Guerra Mundial. Yo nací junio 12 de 1929. Cuando yo cumplí 3 años, yo había recibido un diario para mi cumpleaños. Cuando mi familia y yo huimos de los nazis, empecé a escribir acerca de cómo era la Segunda Guerra Mundial y esos 2 años de estar escondidos. Desafortunadamente morí en marzo de 1945 junto con mi hermana por una enfermedad llamada tifus. Yo estoy feliz de que mi papá publicó mi diario porque así todos se dieron cuenta de que hicieron mal en matar a los judíos.
He was born in 1867. 1 year later, my first child was born. I tried committing suicide, but then my wife had a second child. She named him Michael. He was born 1878. When my wife was giving birth to Michael, she died because she couldn't survive. Then I became famous in all my drawings. One of my most famous drawings was the woman in green, representing my future wife in my own show. But when I got mad, I destroyed about 500 paintings. Then I died on December 5th, 1926. I got an illness when I was 86 years old. Well, thank you for passing by.
Bienvenidos a Noche de Museo. Yo soy Leonardo da Vinci. Yo soy feliz que ustedes vinieron esta noche. Ustedes me salvaron la vida. Y yo pensé que iba a ser una estatua para siempre. Mi carrera empezó cuando tenía 13 años. Algunas de mis pinturas fueron hechas y terminadas para una iglesia llamada St. John. Todos ahí pensaban que yo era talentosa, pero yo pensaba que era un pintor normal como ellos. Cuando yo era un adulto vi a un niño solo. Cuando vi a ese niño solo me sentí muy mal, entonces decidí adoptar a ese niño de 10 años. Yo llamaba Giacomo Salai, que significa mi turno demonio. Yo lo llamaba así porque él era un niño travieso, como yo, cuando yo tenía su edad. Todos me reconocen por mi famosa pintura, que es la Mona Lisa. Yo trabajé muy duro en esa pintura. Esa pintura era como mi mejor amiga. Muchas personas piensan que yo era loco o diferente porque yo escribí al revés. Yo escribí al revés para proteger mis ideas. También, muchas personas piensan que yo era loco o era diferente porque yo nunca tuve mi propia familia ni mis propios hijos. Porque en ese tiempo todos tenían sus familias y sus hijos, pero yo no. También porque nunca tuve amigos. Tristemente, mi muerte es un misterio, porque muchas personas piensan que yo fallecí en las manos del rey Francis I de Francia, y otros piensan que yo fallecí porque tenía problemas de salud. Pero lo que ellos sí saben es que yo fallecí el 2 de mayo de 1519.
Muy bien, gracias.
Me llamo Henry Ford. Me siento tan dirigido por tantos años de estar enterrado en ataúd, pero hoy es noche de museo. Por lo tanto, yo puedo contar mi historia de vida. Yo nací en 1863 en la pequeñita granja en Michigan. Yo crecí experimentando el trabajo duro de alquiloncia. Yo despreciaba ordeñar vacas y cuidar a los pollos. Pero a mí me encantaba crear construcciones. Por ejemplo, hice uno que permite un conductor de un vagón que abre una puerta sin moverse de su silla. Cuando yo me convertí 21 años, yo conocí a mi futura esposa, Claire. Unos años después, ella y yo nos casamos y nos mudamos a Detroit para que yo podía aprender más de los motores y electricidad. Unos años después, yo y Claire, nuestro hijo Edson, nació. Cuando Edson se convirtió 3 años, yo finalmente creí mi primer el Ford Model T. Después yo establecí la compañía Ford Motor. Ford Motor empezó a crecer y crecer hasta que empezó a crear muchos mejores modelos de mi vehículo, y después la compañía Ford se convirtió en la compañía más famosa en los Estados Unidos. Y por eso me convertí en el abuelo de la industria automotriz.
I'm Charles Chappell. You can call me Charlie. I traveled all the way here from London, England, the place I was born. I have been your favorite comedian since April 16, 1889, to even today, 2014. I had a pretty rough childhood, but if that's what got me here today, I'm thankful for it. Moving wasn't easy, that's for sure, but seeing different cultures helped me with many things. When I was about 13 years old, many of you know me as the tramp, or the little fellow. You see me dressed in a bowler hat, pants much too large, a coat much too small, and of course, a bamboo cane. When I was about 13 years old, I toured with a group of comic entertainers. And by 16, I was one of the most popular musical performers in England.
I'm the security guard.
I was the last queen to rule ancient Egypt. Can you guess who I am? If you can't, I am Cleopatra. Me and my siblings always played Senet, which is an Egyptian board game, dress up, or tag. When I was an adult, my brother kicked me away from the throne because he thought I was too young to rule the land. While wandering around ancient Egypt, I found Julius Caesar, and we had one child named Caesarion. And then they both were old enough to go to war, and they both died in war. And then while wandering the streets again, I found Mark Antony. We had 2 children, Alexander Helios and Cleopatra Selene. And then we got tired of war and got very bored of war. And so I spread a rumor that I was suicide. He was so sad that he stabbed himself out of grief. And then when he learned I was alive, he ordered his troops to bring them to me under his last breath and died in my arms. After that, I grabbed an Egyptian cobra and stabbed myself and bit myself, bit me in the arm. And then I died because of the poison.
I haven't been around lately. Liverpool, England was my home. I was a sick child, but throughout my adventures, I found my love for music. I, Ringo Starr, played for the Beatles with the role of drummer. I was born in Liverpool, England, under the name of Richard Starkey. At the age of 6, my appendix burst, and I was in the hospital for a year. Then, I fell out of bed and hit my head and went into a coma for 6 months. As a teen, I was in a band, and another member convinced me to change my name to Ringo Starr. Years later, I met the Beatles, and they asked me to join the band and play the drums. We wrote some world-famous songs, such as All You Need Is Love and Let It Be. I then married Maureen Cox. We had 3 kids and divorced soon after the Beatles broke up. After the Beatles broke up, I continued my own music career, won many awards, and married Barbara Goldbach. I'd like to always be remembered as a Beatle, but also as an artist.
We have the same picture.
Yo lo mostré lo que mujeres pueden hacer. Yo también era uno de los primeros para romper el atmósfera. No solo hace el primer paso, pero el segundo y tercero también. Soy Sally Ride, la primera astronauta americana. Yo nací en 1951 en Los Angeles, California. Yo crecí sabiendo que yo puedo hacer algo tan bien o mejor que los niños. Yo también tomo lecciones de tenis con Billie Jean King. En un tiempo era 19 nacional. Yo también fui a Stanford. Después de Stanford, yo vi un anuncio en el periódico para NASA. Un mes después, yo recibí una llamada de teléfono diciendo que el trabajo es mío. Cuando estaba en NASA, yo conocí a Stephen Harley. Nos casamos en 1982 y divorciamos en 1987. Mi primer vuelvo fue en 1983 en el Challenge, que duró 6 días. Un año más después yo tengo mi segundo vuelvo, también en el Challenger, pero solo duró 2 días. Yo también estaba en el Salón de Fama de las Mujeres. Yo murió en el 23 de julio en 2012 de un 18-mes batalla con cáncer de páncreas. Yo también recibí la medalla de honor un año después de que murió. Yo no quiero que personas se recordaban a mí por ser un astronauta, pero para ser un héroe y un líder para muchos.
I'm still wearing the hipster stuff. Take it off. I'm going to tell you facts about myself. First of all, I was born on March 1897 in Newark, New Jersey. Next, I received rap music in the locker room and in the bathroom at school. Then I started to record my own music in 1988 when I was 19 years old, and I also created my first album for the
When I was 10 years old, my siblings and I started to sing in my father's restaurant. Our band was called Silvina Vecinos. We would play every single Saturdays at weddings, bars, parties, and fairs. I was also a vocal performer and always maintained a great repertoire with my fans. I would donate about $2,000 to schools in need. I married Chris Perez on April 2nd, 1992, but we didn't last long because on March 31, 1995, one of my president fans named Yolanda shot me in the back for Johnson Rage. Now she's posted it on
Hola, mi nombre es Yao Ming, el sino gigante. Yo jugaba por los Houston Rockets, pero cuando era un niño jugaba por Shanghai Sharks. Yo nací en Shanghai, China, en 1980. Mis padres son Yaozi Wan y Beng Fei. Tengo una esposa llamada
llamada Jelly. También tengo un hijo llamado Jack Wendenby. Yo me hice famoso cuando unos jugadores profesionales vinieron y me vieron jugar. Yo, cuando era niño, la gente me admiraba por ser un niño que parecía un adulto. Yo voy a ser recordado por ser el primero, sino en la NBA.
That's Spanish.
Si aprendes lo básico. Soy Helen Keller, más conocida por ser ciega, muda, escribir libros y para dar discursos. Yo tenía muchos estrés durante mis años adolescentes. Nací el 27 de junio de 1880. Conocí a mucha gente famosa cuando era joven, pero no tan joven. Mi maestra Ann Sullivan me ayudó a comunicar con los niños de mi edad. Yo tenía mucho estrés durante mis años adolescentes, porque no podía hablar con los niños de mi edad. Fui al colegio en 1904. En 1920 yo ayudé a encontrar la Unión Americana de Derechos Civiles. Durante el lapso de mi vida, yo ayudé y encontré una manera con mi maestra a comunicar con los niños de mi edad, a los que tienen la enfermedad que yo tengo, el Scarlet Fever. Pues eso es lo que yo creo que se llama. Y si no, estoy correcta, yo creo que es el cerebro fever. Gracias por venir a mi presentación de Noche de Museo.